Hello, my name is Michael Dwan Herrick. I'm a psychotherapist and a life coach in private practice in London. Welcome to this 31st video in my series titled Questioning Woke Psychotherapy. In this video, I'll talk about the dance of clarity and confusion, or we could say certainty and uncertainty. While this topic could fit well into the general category of personal development, I've decided to include it in this series, as I think it's relevant in a fundamental way to questioning woke psychotherapy. Whether one subscribes to the ideology of woke or opposes it, the dynamic tension between certainty and uncertainty will be at play. Either side can be mired in confusion or become impenetrable in its certainty. When at war, neither side wants to admit its confusion nor loosen its grip on the truth by genuinely considering the other's perspective. In my practice as a psychotherapist, I've noticed that the people I work with, regardless of what particular issues they may bring to therapy, tend to struggle with certainty and uncertainty. How could it be otherwise? We all do, including yours truly. We tend to be confused about a great many things and feel distressed by our confusion. We want answers to questions, or we want to know what questions to even ask. We want clear, stable explanations that we can rely on to provide an understanding of who we are and why we are that way. We want to know what other people are all about and how to relate to them. We want a clear and comprehensive account of how the world works so that it can be predicted, managed, and navigated, if not controlled. On the other hand, despite our confusion, we sometimes also cling to certainties. We ward off the distress caused by our confusion by convincing ourselves that we know for a fact all kinds of things, whether they're ultimately true or not. Often we become rigid within our personal set of certainties and trapped in dysfunctional patterns of thinking, behaving, and interacting with others. Our square pegs continually don't fit into round holes. So we can feel distressed by our confusion and long for absolute certainties. But when we cling to absolute certainties, our minds can become inflexible and maladaptive. Without some degree of certainty or clarity, we're lost. We don't know who we are, how anything works, what we want, or how to navigate the world. But being certain about things that turn out to be false or incomplete can be just as problematic. Maybe the world and people don't work as we've decided they do, and our plans and behaviors backfire, and we make a mess of things. So what's a poor boy or girl or gender dysphoric person to do? Basically, I propose that we accept that clarity and confusion, certainty and uncertainty come as a pair. Confusion is inevitable and clarity is necessary. No matter how clear or certain we become on different matters, we will also be ignorant or confused about other things. And when our certainties are shattered by new information or evidence, we will be confused again until we can integrate that new bit of information into a new understanding, perhaps a new map. This is just how the mind works. When we simply surrender to confusion, doubting that anything can be known for sure, we don't know who we are or where we are. We have no map for locating ourselves anywhere. We have no idea where to go or how to get there. We wander aimlessly and just might stumble into the pits of hell. Oh, we might get lucky, that's possible, but it's a long shot. Maybe we have an elaborate philosophical explanation for our lostness, some postmodern position that allows us to feel at least we're being clever. Maybe we can even laugh at and ridicule all the silly, certain people who don't know what we know about the impossibility of knowledge. Okay, maybe. Good luck with that. On the other hand, when we cling tightly to our certainties and defend them against all doubts, as already mentioned, we become inflexible. Our learning and growth then is restricted to merely adding more supporting information to what we already know or think we know. We cease to develop. We add more details to our existing map, but don't expand it to include more territories. We become unable to adapt to a changing environment. Our maps keep us stuck in the same territories and provide no orientation when we're thrust into something new. We argue stridently with those who have different certainties without any curiosity about their perspective or how and why they arrived at their own maps. Whoever doesn't agree can be written off as either stupid or morally deficient or both. We pay for our smugness by exchanging our capacity to grow. This won't seem expensive if we don't know what we're paying. The map I go on suggests to me that there are more and less accurate maps, as well as larger and smaller ones. It also seems that maps should correspond to actual territories brought into our awareness by evidence. Otherwise, they're not useful for getting around in the world. And having debates about the accuracy and size of maps is incredibly useful. This is how we collectively expand and refine our knowledge. Small maps can be quite good at including accurate details, but they have limited horizons. Large maps can be great at scope, but they might neglect or be lacking in details and accuracy in smaller regions. Unfortunately, when certainty is clung to, small map people often refuse to expand their scope, and large map people can often dismiss smaller details as petty and not worthy of attention. A poor boy or girl or gender dysphoric person could start by recognizing and accepting that all certainties are provisional. We ought to be open to questioning and revision no matter what map we're operating from. This doesn't mean that our maps can't be relied upon, especially if they're the product of rigorous thought and reflection on available evidence. Saying that they are provisional doesn't turn the ground into quicksand. You can walk on it. This is just to say that we can function effectively, at least for now, with our provisional map. But if our ground gives way and we're up to our chin in it, just maybe it is time to address our cognitive dissonance instead of sinking into denial. Maybe new evidence needs to be considered and integrated into the old map. This might require a new map, a new set of provisional certainties. Not an easy process, but the alternative is to drown in our own smugness and rigidity. Another way to say all of this is that we could consider clarity, confusion, or certainty and uncertainty as a recursive dialectic, one that facilitates development and yields successive plateaus of understanding. One without the other produces predictable and generally undesirable outcomes. When working together, the path is still bumpy and difficult, but worth taking, as vistas expand and versatility in thought and action provide greater adaptive potential in a changing world. I haven't really said anything directly about woke or the critics of woke. I'll leave it to you to reflect on how all of this is relevant to that particular discourse. I will acknowledge that some ideas or maps are inaccurate and stupid, and some people are immoral. When this is the case, it needs to be spotted and called out. But this should not be done lightly or reactively against any doubts presented about our own perfect map of the world. Ad hominem attacks and straw manning will get us nowhere. In the spirit of good faith dialogue and in the quest for greater understanding and more useful maps, we could afford to be more generous with our curiosity and humbler in acknowledging that we may have blind spots or faulty maps that could be illuminated by others. And this goes for both sides of the debate. Either this, or we could sink together, locked in a death stare of smugness, refusing to acknowledge our ignorance or confusion. Well, on that happy note, I'll say goodbye. If you have liked this video, please give it a like, subscribe to my channel, click the bell for notifications, leave me a comment, and share it with a friend or even an enemy. Until next time, take care of yourself and each other, and give certainty and uncertainty a big dance floor and see what they can do. Bye-bye.